This podcast is sponsored by the following sponsors. The Real Real. Buy and sell luxury clothing, bags, and more on The Real Real. Get $25 off your first purchase when you go to therealreal.com/happy. Shopify, the e-commerce platform I trust for Glossy. Sign up for your $1 a month trial period at shopify.com/happy. Get more when you start your business with Northwest Registered Agent. Your entire business identity in just 10 clicks and 10 minutes. Visit northwestregisteredagent.com/earn. Airbnb. Start making money by listing your home on Airbnb with the support of an experienced co-host. Find a co-host at airbnb.com/host. Get Notion mail for free right now at notion.com/earn and try the inbox that thinks like you. That's all lowercase letters. Notion.com/earn to get Notion mail for free right now.
My business partner and I were sharing an apartment in Santa Monica. We have $40 in the bank account. We were delivering pizzas and whatever we could do to make some extra money. I was doing voiceovers, just being scrappy. And we did it also with a really positive attitude. Believe in yourself. Take a risk. Let's use this opportunity we've got to create something new.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Earn Your Happy podcast. Today I have Jennifer Eden on the show. She's the co-founder and CEO of Tampon Tribe, which is a company she passionately leads to revolutionize the menstrual product industry with organic, plastic-free, and sustainable solutions. It was driven by her dedication to create positive change for people's health and the environment and her own personal story. You guys, she's driven it to a strong 7+ figure company, and she is about to hit 8 this year. So we are celebrating on the podcast. I learned so much about the importance of really looking at our products as women and the products that we use, especially for feminine hygiene, because it really can impact your health way more than we realize. And Jen prioritizes personal wellness and happiness. She's an enthusiastic pickleball player, which you guys, I just joined a pickleball club. So more on that. But she frequently is savoring quality moments over food and wine with her partner and friends. And you guys, this conversation was such a great conversation, especially towards the last half. We really started diving deep into a lot of topics on personal life and business and entrepreneurship. And you know that I love that. Let's dive into the show. All right, Jen, welcome to the Earn Your Happy podcast. Thank you so much for coming on.
Just a pleasure to be here, Laurie. Thank you.
I'm really excited to chat with you because you have built some really incredible things throughout your whole career. And I also always love hearing about women who have come from, different fields and then launched a company from all of their learnings. And you have a really amazing company that you run called Tampon Tribe. And it's genius as well. And I love it because you are in the space of really wanting to create something better and bring awareness to women. Let's just start at that point. What problem was this solving for you? Like, I love to know the beginning of where an idea started. Where was that? Like, where was the very first thought of, whoa, this could be a thing?
Yeah, sure. Mine's from a very personal point of view with this business, which is quite different to other businesses I've had in the past. So for me, I've always suffered from endometriosis, like millions of women the world over. And I've always been told, just deal with it, right? That pain, that's just normal. Take a tablet. It's you kind of get gaslit, I think is how we'd say it today. At that time, it was like, But I was in LA about 9 years ago now, and I was like, that's it. There's got to be something, that has to give here. And so I started researching and found that a lot of toxins in period products could be exacerbating my pain. I was like, wait, what?
Oh, wow.
So, you start that exploration, like, wait a second. And I actually got some of these really good imported organic tampons and pads from Europe. And I'm like, I'm going to try this. My period pain went away the next month. I'm like, this has got to be a coincidence. There's no way. Like, it can't be that simple.
Wow.
Because, right, we're taught that it's got to be complicated. it doesn't necessarily have to be complicated. So I went on this journey of like looking through at organic products. I've always eaten pretty healthily and I've been into the organic space for my, I guess, every other part of my body, but I never thought that, hey, toxins, chemicals in tampons, in pads, in period products actually impact you. Of course they do, but we never think about it, right? So at that time, I was actually, as I said, in LA, in Venice, if anyone knows the big Whole Foods there. I'm like, I should be able to get these organic products here. So off I go. None. Or one or two brands. I'm like, wait, what? I'm in one of the most organic places on the planet and I don't have access to really good products. So my business mind started working. I was with my business partner here at the time and we thought we wanted to do something new, and the business kind of entrepreneurial juices kicked into play, and we did a lot of testing with the product. We had a Kickstarter to see if people would like it. And yeah, so that's kind of the root of the product. And we're also totally plastic free. And that also comes from myself and my business partner, Gabby's passion of making a better planet, you know? So we kind of thought, how do we put these two things together? And Tampon Tribe was born.
Oh my gosh. I mean, when you think about it, everything that goes on our skin, and that's like a really personal thing, that is literally inside of your body. Like, you know, and it's just thinking about like all of the different things that we are putting on our skin and into ourselves. And that is insane that was one of the things that immediately made you feel better. Did you notice what it was immediate for you?
Immediate. The next month, zero period pain. And, you know, I thought this has to be a coincidence. You know, I'm getting a bit older. My body's changing. Next couple of months, nothing. And then it was about 4 months in, maybe 5, and the period pain came back. I'm like, see? And then I thought, no. I was traveling. I was in Texas and I used store-bought products the month before. So that pain came back. That was the correlation. Went back to totally organic, never had period pain again. And it wasn't just a little bit of pain that I had, Laurie. It was the double over, like crawl to the kitchen, have some food, to have the tablet, just to exist. And, you know, that's since you're what, 13 years old? And I was then going to give away my age, my early 40s. And so you put up with it how many times, you know, during work, during everything, just like, So we're not saying this is a cure-all for everybody, of course. But what fascinated me was that we hadn't even thought about it. No doctor told me to look at my period products, right? You never, what are you putting in on your body? It never spoke about it to anybody. So that's kind of when all the light bulbs went off and we thought, wait, there's a real issue here. This is a real industry that needs disruption. And there are other brands that were kind of starting to do it, but we're like, let's go all in. Let's only use the best products. And I know this resonates with you really well. Let's only use the best ingredients. Let's not compromise on anything. And that's got us to where we are today.
Wow. You know, when you think about it, for anyone who's like, is it really that impactful? Now there's literally medications and hormones that we take through our skin, you guys, because it's that absorbable into our skin that a lot of these different creams, these hormone creams, these topical products, it's like that is what you are soaking into your body. And there's no question, if we're putting something in our body for that many days, that is like 24/7 for 7 days. And you're really making me think, because I legitimately am going to switch over to your product.
Yeah.
Because I, number one, just want to see if there's any possible way that I could feel better during that time. But also just knowing that is really crazy. I put thought into everything else, but that's one thing I haven't actually put a ton of thought into. So tell me about what customers should know when they're looking for a product and things labeled organic.
Yeah, and this is a huge, huge thing, not just in our industry, I guess, across all products. There are quite a few packages that say organic on them. And this is not just in period products, right? This is in food, this is in drink, but they're not organic. They have no certification. So what people should look for the certifications. first and foremost. And a certification is not like a little canvas circle with a piece of cotton in it. Like it has to have which is everywhere, right? But it has to have an actual certification. The certifications are super hard to get. So if a company has those certifications on their pack or on their website, that's the first thing I would look for. If someone doesn't have a certification on their pack or on their website, then just question it. So with the organic tampon space or the organic period product space, we have what's called GOTS and ICEA certification. So it's the highest level of certification you can get for organic products, and sustainable certification as well. So to us, that's really important. And our whole product is certified. So this is another thing. Sometimes people will use an element of a certified product, but then they'll mix it with a man-made materials. They'll put titanium dioxide, they put wax, they put petroleum jelly, they put a whole lot of things in period products that are insane.
Wow.
But they'll say organic because part of their product might have been organic cotton. So just, if you're looking at a product, just ask for a bit of transparency. And I think we deserve that. I feel a huge responsibility to have that on the product. And I'm really proud of it as well. So that's another thing. If a company has the certifications, they'll be there. They're really hard to get. It's like, if you're a doctor,
front and center. Yeah.
You sure are. They
cost a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like being a doctor and not having a medical degree behind you. This is a hard thing to get. So it should be easy to find a certification on any product. But it's important, in our opinion, in the period space, because the chemicals and the man-made materials that are in these products can be terribly detrimental. They really do impact your endocrine system. They do impact your fertility. They do impact your entire body and your hormone balance. So it's at least worth seeing if that switch impacts your body. We find for most of our customers, we get just such great feedback that their periods have got less, that their clotting has stopped, that their pain is reduced. So give it a go for yourself, I would say, and just look for those certifications.
Wow. You're not hearing this conversation around how to feel better around your period about the actual products that you're using. This is like kind of a wow moment for me. I know that may seem, I just haven't given it a lot of thought, to be honest.
But I hadn't either. And that was the crazy thing. I'd never thought about it. I just put up with the pain every month. And like you say, let's get a hot water bottle or a comfrey or a wrap or the tablet. So we're putting Band-Aid solutions because that's how we're brought up. And that's fine. Like the other thing we've got to be very careful of is not feeling bad about our choices that we have made, right? Yeah. It's like, but now that we know something, how do we slowly integrate that better choice into, our bodies? And I'd never thought about it either. Never had thought about it. And then once you start kind of doing that investigation, and there was a large report that came out in July that a lot of people will be aware of out of Berkeley University, showing all of these toxins in tampons, including organically labeled ones. And then everyone now is like, wait, what? Let's dig a little deeper. And so, for us, that's just been a great awakening in terms of education and people, including myself, saying, hey, we need better. Why are you putting these awful things in our period products? And it's got to a point now where a lot of states are legislating that those products won't be allowed on our shelves. So that'll be really interesting to see how that goes. But it's actually quite a serious topic as well,
Yeah, it is, especially women who are fighting so hard for fertility right now, just with all of the things against women for fertility and for health. I think that's a huge conversation. So what do you think positions you guys uniquely compared to everybody else?
Yeah, for us, it's really that authenticity and purity of ingredients that we're not compromising on. So we're the only period product company in the US to only use GOTS and ICEA certified organic cotton. That's it. We don't mix it. We don't use chemicals. We don't add anything. We're not putting a bit of titanium dioxide, nothing. We don't just have an organic cotton core or a cover. Our whole product is certified organic cotton. And the second part is we're the only plastic-free period product company. And that just is not just about the environment. Of course, that's massive. The plastic applicators, the plastic wraps, the plastic backs of your pads. It's insane. I think it's something like 15 billion plastic back pads and 7 billion plastic applicators end up in landfills every year. It's insane. And also, if you're looking at a pad and it's got plastic on the back of it, that creates that really kind of icky microclimate in a very warm part of your body. So ours is all plant-based, it's all breathable. We don't use a glue. We are vegan and hypoallergenic. So we like to think that we have, well, not even like to think, I should stand behind this. We made sure that every element of our product is totally good for you, totally clean. And that just sets us apart. So if that's your thing, then we're great in that market. There are a lot of hybrid products out there as well. That's a good stepping stone. But we like to bring the best, not just a better for you product, but let's put the best on our body. And our whole aim is to make that accessible to everyone as well.
I love that. So you talked about, what is filling our landfills with the products that we use. How is building this and learning all about it? Because I know in my company, like the more I learn, the more I'm like, the more I become passionate about certain things. So has this made you be more passionate about like sustainability, about health? Explain like that journey for me, what that's kind of opened up for you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, coming from Australia and growing up on the beach, I've always been a pretty big advocate against plastic and for recycling. And we've had that since I was a little kid. So that's a while, So we're very used to, having 3 trash bins at the house and separating everything. So, but opening my eyes when I dug into the industry more and looking at the waste and looking at a tampon applicator, which has the shortest use life of any single-use plastic on the planet. What do you use it for 2 seconds? 1 second? And you're putting 16 of those into landfill forever every month. Gosh, that's a lot of plastic. We can do better. Right? Absolutely. As human beings. So 100%. And now I look at sustainability of pretty much everything. It really has opened my eyes, like you said, into the fashions, what we wear, what we dispose of. I look at my trash, I'm like, oh gosh, that was a lot. Can I get that a little bit less? Like that was a little unnecessary. And in the organic space for sure, really knowing what to look for in every product and not just taking the package at face value, which of course I did, like everyone else. Oh, organic, that looks great. I'll take it. But turning it around and going, wait, what? Yeah. These are the ingredients in this food, in this, personal care item, in this skincare, in what we drink, in everything. Yeah, looking at labels is where I've really seen myself evolve as a human being. And then as a business, how do we add more items to our line that are beneficial to women's health? Like, let's look after each other. How do we get better products for each other out there? And how do we make sure they're sustainable as well? So one of the certifications we have with our products is ICEA, and that's an Italian certification, which not just certifies what's in the product, but all of the ethical standards that go through manufacturing. So that's really important for us as well. And both myself and my business partner have lived all over the world and always tried when we've done business to make sure that we're working in a very ethical capacity. I think that's super important too.
Did it start like that? Or were you like, okay, we're going to build on this? Because in the beginning, you're kind of just like trying to make it work.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it started very simply. We started with a tampon, like we're going to sell organic tampons without plastic and we're going to use the Dollar Shave Club model and we're going to get the products out there and disrupt the industry. The end, right?
Right. Great. That sounds
we'll
like
be fine.
Plan. Let's all do it.
Yeah, let's do it. But it's funny, as soon as we put that product in our little Kickstarter, which was our Indiegogo campaign, people wanted pads. People wanted liners. I'm like, wait, what? And that was in our first couple of months of kind of getting the product out there. Now we have period underwear. We have reusable pads. We have menstrual cups that are not made from silicone. So yeah, that first little step was almost like just opening the door a tiny bit, going, wait, what? Wow. And now knowing what we can do without going crazy, because that's the hard thing in business, How do we keep laser focused, but still add some extra things that are awesome at the same time? So yeah, it's definitely a learning process. And testing the market as well, seeing what people like, because you might love something. Doesn't mean everybody else is going to love something, right?
Yeah,
So, yeah,
totally.
definitely step by step, and still learning every day on what works and what doesn't work. Often is not what we think.
Yeah, I love that. I want to get back to that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about your conversation with sustainability too. I completely like, and you have those moments in your life where you are just awakened to how much we waste over here, and to really take that standpoint when you're trying to create something, or even in your own life. I went over to Italy, and we were walking in a town that doesn't have like roads for cars. So it's like a garbage truck can't make it up these mountains where all of these people live.
Mhm.
And so they have somebody come once a week who comes and picks up the garbage, but by hand. And you're only allowed to fill one, like picture like a CVS bag. You're only allowed to fill like one CVS bag a week. And so they have to think about it from a standpoint, because they just don't have the ability to get rid of their waste. So when they go, it's reusable bags, it's reusable cartons. They're getting their fruit from, the person on the corner in their reusable carton. Like, they are not adding any trash, one CVS bag a week. And that just blew my mind to come home and look at what we're doing. So I love that you're thinking of that. But that was such an eye-opening moment for me, where I was
Yeah.
like, they just don't even have it. And there was no trash around the area. Zero. It was like the
Wow.
cleanest, most beautiful area ever. But thinking of it in terms of what if you what if you took that challenge? Could you even do it? We couldn't even do it. We don't live that
And
way.
yeah. Yeah. And we live in such a fast consumable society,
Mhm.
and so how do we then mitigate that in our own lives? But then what responsibility do we have when we're creating product? So
Yeah.
for us, it was also to be very cognizant of what we're packaging products in and what we're shipping products in. So we
Mm.
don't use plastic at all, because that makes a difference.
Mm.
And to be, like you just mentioned there, the people living in that town in Italy, knowing that one person can make a difference. And
Yeah.
sometimes we think, oh, it's not going to matter, it's just one person. Well, there's a lot of just one people, right?
Right. Totally.
We can make that difference. So, yeah, it's really important to me. And I think, just thinking back on what you asked before about the sustainability, that really has grown in my importance,
Mm.
I guess, metric of my life since doing this company, without a doubt. Even though I thought I was pretty good, it's definitely opened my eyes to what we could be doing better.
Mm.
And I
Mhm.
see that, even when I came to the US, and I don't see it that much. When you go to a coffee shop, no one brings their own cup,
Mm.
right? In Australia, for years, you bring your own little cup and they
Mm.
refill it. You don't
Wow.
use a disposable cup. You don't have the plastic lid. I mean, they still do. But
Mm.
if it's a regular thing you go to every day, you have a little keep cup and you take that and you fill it, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
And you might get a discount. Like, sometimes the shops incentivize that.
Mm.
And of course, the shopping bags, bringing your own bags, bringing your own boxes to the fruit market, things like this. We'll get there here. And I know some places are working very hard at promoting that too.
Mm. I love that. Growing up, we didn't even have a recycle bin. Like, I didn't know what it was at all until I moved, because I was from a small town, and
Yeah.
it was like, what is recycling? We literally
Wow.
didn't even know. So I remember even just learning that for the first time. Okay. So I want to know what the most fun, rewarding part of Tampon Tribe is for you.
Gosh, fun and rewarding. Customers has to come to mind straight away. Followed closely with my team. I think building
Yeah.
that, and being here in a warehouse that we are now in, which is ours, and that whole journey from working from my living room,
Yeah.
filling the bags at night. Whoever wanted to help me out.
Yeah.
Coming to a place where we're about to outgrow this warehouse right now, and go into
Wow.
another one. I think that's really fun.
Mhm.
But most enjoyable is when I have a customer call me, email me. I still do a lot of the customer service myself. I love it.
Mm.
Customers so important. I have, people help. We're a team. However, I love getting on to make sure that everyone's journey is good, that I can help with questions. It's my favorite thing, is being of service. I guess that's what I
Yeah.
love to do. And so that is what really lights me up. And when we work with schools, when we've got a strong give back as well. So when we're giving back to people in need, you feel in a way that you're making some kind of positive impact on the planet. We all have those moments like, what am I doing? Why am I here? Like everyone has that. And it can be so hard. We know what it's like. We're in the weeds every other day, right? We know this, and I know that everybody is, whether they have a company, whether they're starting a side hustle, whether it's just in your day-to-day life. So I really get excited where we can help somebody else. And then in terms of building a small team and seeing the team grow and feeling a certain sense of autonomy in what they do, we like to get everyone involved in it, the simplest and the most complicated of decisions, so everyone's voice is heard. For me, I love that, and not in a way that I even feel I'm giving an opportunity. I feel I'm getting the opportunity. I'm getting that opportunity to learn from our fulfillment team, people that work with me on marketing and as an assistant in every aspect of the business. I love that collaboration. So that's probably the two most joyful and fun things that we lose sight of sometimes. And I come in here, I'm like, oh, yay, we feel, that sense of excitement. And then the opportunity of growth, where can we take this to? And because we're an impact product, how do we then amplify that so people feel better in their skin, in their bodies, and the planet? So it's multi-layered for me.
And where do you want to take it? What is a goal that you have in your mind right now?
Well, our goal is to bring this into an 8-figure business this year, which is really exciting. And we're well on the way. Yeah, it will. We've got some great collaborations, great growth this year and last year. Well, great growth the whole time, but it feels like it's coming together. You know what it's like.
And what year is this for you? Just so people hear.
This is our 8th year.
Yeah, 8th year, everyone. And she just said, I feel like it's coming together. I love that. That's important. Yeah.
It is. But every step of the way, it comes together in a different way.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about, like year one, it comes together in, gosh, we've learned 5 things and it's been hard. That's still good.
Still great. We needed to learn them.
Yeah. It does. It's still, the 3 a.m. wake-ups are still there. I don't think they ever go away. I spoke to someone about this the other day. Like, do these ever? No, they never stop. And but 20 years now for me in business. Yeah.
This week has been full of them. So.
Oh, I hear you, Laurie. Me too. Me too. and from previous businesses as well, because your mind's working all night.
Yep.
It's how it is. And you wake up with, even if everything's going great, you wake up with stuff on your mind. The joys of entrepreneurship. Where else we'd like to make this more of a household name, and it's getting there. This big shift in the awareness of organic is changing our positioning in the market, which has been really interesting. Tampon Tribe, prior to about July last year, was a bit more of a niche brand. So we focused very much on a great customer base of people who were very much into organic already, who already understood the benefits of organic, of plastic-free. We're in a little more high-end grocery. That's taken a huge shift, which I am super excited about. And now we're finding every consumer is calling for transparency in this sector, which is just great. So we love championing everyone's cause now. So we're working, we've just got into UNFI, which is a large distributor in the natural grocery space, which is a huge unlock for us. Very exciting, very, very large milestone for the company, which enables us to then really get into a lot more stores, and also amplifies our mission and enables our D2C part of the business, to direct to consumer, to grow as well. So yeah, I think having Tampon Tribe on everyday shelves is a great mission for us, and one that we're working very, very fiercely toward.
How long have you been in retail?
We've been in retail now, gosh, probably about 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, we started D2C. We also have a large B2B part of the business. So we sell to a lot of schools. We sell to a ton of hotels, schools, hotels, businesses. We're in Pixar, Postmates. We sell to the Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons, the Marriotts, big hotel deal that we're just about to announce has just come on board, which is super exciting. And you know what's also great about that is that these hotels and businesses are passionate about organic and plastic-free products in their doors, which I love. And it doesn't necessarily have to be one of the more ritzier marks, which we have. Sometimes it's a Home2 Suites. And I'm like, yes, I love that. I love that the managers of that hotel, big, small, doesn't matter, are passionate enough to say, I want safe products for my guests, right? So yeah, growing that part of the business has been really exciting. Retail, we started with the Erewhons, which is kind of an upscale grocery store here in
You
LA.
started with Erewhon.
That's how I designed the product for Erewhon.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Because Erewhon is more expensive to get into. Correct?
It's changed
or not correct?
It's changed a little bit now.
Okay.
So when we first went in there, they were still had a single ownership. I know it's really different now. I'm not sure. We're not in Erewhon at the moment. They changed management. They changed everything. They changed ownership, I think, of the company. Okay. But when we got there, I'll tell you the story. I had my little tube. This is our tampons. And it wasn't even a tube. It was just a blank tube with a sticker. And I'm like, right, nice. We can do this. And so I knock on the door, hi.
Yeah.
I'm from Tampon Tribe. I'm going to build this. And they're like, we love it. We'll take it. I'm like, better get those tubes printed tomorrow,
You're like, okay, I got to get to work.
We do a lot of that. I love building businesses that way. So something that I really enjoy doing is making sales before I have the product.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah, it's something that I guess I've learned doing business for nearly 30 years, a long time. We can love a product doesn't mean everyone else is going to love the product. So having those secured sales before you actually have the product, knowing that you have the ability to get the product, like you got to be able to fulfill.
Don't sell air, everyone.
Don't sell oil. And probably can. And we're in LA, we could do that.
We really could.
But having that scrappiness is how I kind of love to build businesses and still do it to a certain level. We're a little larger now, but even to that level, we gave a free water bottle out the other day, which I accidentally turned on at night. And the next day we'd sold them all. I'm like, oh my gosh, I better get this water bottle.
Oh God.
How do we do this?
Yeah.
But be able to do it really quickly. We're in the US and we have great relationships with all of our suppliers internationally. So to get that product here in 3 days, let's just do it. So how to be agile and how to be a bit scrappy is something I really enjoy. It's stressful, but it's also enjoyable. But from Erewhon, we went into some of the more natural grocery stores, primarily on the West Coast, but also some on the East Coast, some in Texas as well. And we are in a lot of the smaller independent stores where refiller is and natural, mom and pop corner stores. We're in a lot of those as well.
So how did you first start getting into stores, but then also B2B? Because were you sitting there just thinking about, was it a big meeting of who needs this and what can we do? Like, how did you know when to expand into those?
Sure. Ours was a combination of how do we be a little bit clever and how do we get marketing for free. So if you've got your product sitting on a shelf, they see your brand, it doesn't cost you anything. In fact, someone's just bought these. So I'm like, okay, that's a great marketing tool. Let's reach out to some of these stores and get our brands on the shelves. Not only are we making sales, but also we are letting more people know about us, because what do you need? 3 to 7 touch points before people become a customer often. And the B2B seemed like a very natural fit for us. So we started in Santa Monica in California, and we had a lot of co-work spaces around us. So at co-work spaces, they give away products to their customers. So once again, knocking on doors. That's what it was. Knock on doors. This is what we have. Would you like to buy us? I feel like a traveling salesperson with my suitcase most of the time because it's all about sales. Everything in life is about sales, right? You can pretend that it's not, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
Even the marketing message. You don't sell anything. You can have the best in the world.
I mean, we're selling ourselves in relationships and marriages and friendships. It's literally all sales, everybody. We sell to ourselves every day. We sell an idea.
100%. So yeah, B2B was very early on because we sold to a lot of the WeWorks in LA. We sold a lot to the smaller co-work spaces. Then we started selling to schools and yoga studios and gyms. And we just were on the ground selling things.
Mm.
Once again, that enabled us to get our name out there. So people would see us in a co-work space and they'd come online and buy the product. So I saw it as, they used to call it guerrilla marketing, but it's just think outside the box. How do I get this product everywhere? And then Amazon came after that because we had to be on Amazon to get some press deals through. And Amazon's up and down, but it also is good to have a presence there, in my opinion. And there was a time, like I say, where if you were going to be featured in any media because of their affiliate links, you had to be on Amazon too. So that started our journey through Amazon. But B2B is huge for us when it comes to hotels and schools. Really large part of our business. We sell to a lot of them. And also it's when you look at an average order value, say a tampon average order value is not super high. Maybe someone's spending a bundle of $25. If you're selling into a hotel or a school, $250, $300. A larger school, $15,000 a quarter.
Wow.
A larger company, $20,000 a quarter. So suddenly I'm like, wait a second, let's do some math here. And you've got a huge company that's buying your product on a regular basis, very little churn in the B2B space as well. And once you've made that sale, you can nurture and keep them. Whereas, with a direct-to-consumer product, you're always almost not fighting so much. The personal care space, and I know in your space as well, people are pretty loyal. But you do have to do a lot of work to keep and retain a customer as well as capture new customers. So I like that combination. I've always been someone who's omni-channel. It doesn't, not everyone thinks that way. Some people like to just do one thing and you get told, just focus on one thing. I disagree with that.
I've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs who, when that one thing has gone away, they're like, oh my God, because those one things go away frequently.
Yeah.
So it's really important to have multiple things. So I love that way of thinking. So for you, as you're growing this company, what have been some things that you personally had really struggled with that you had to either learn or, let go of, like needing to think differently? What are some things that come up for you that you really see where you've had to grow your skill set in order to be the woman you are now?
In multiple areas, actually. One of them being a D2C company. So I'd never run an online company before. I'm okay with computers.
Yeah.
Like we all are, right? We know our basics, but you have to do a lot on the back end of the company, so knowing how to learn really quickly how to manage the back end of your store was something I had to pick up pretty quickly, because you can put 10 different tech people on it. You still need to understand, I think, how it works. And I like to understand how all aspects of the business works. So learning the tech side, learning how to do business in America was a new thing for me. I'm obviously from Australia, and before America, I was working in Beijing, in China for 8 years. So now learning, and also a little bit in Brazil. So now learning how to work in a totally different culture. It seems similar to Australia. It's not at all similar to Australia.
Wow.
Very, very different. Yeah.
What's a big difference that you could share with us?
A big difference is how we do business with each other from a business to business point of view. In Australia, we just tell it how it is. Not super worried about your feelings because it's business. Just do business.
Yeah.
Not here. Here's a very different level of building that personal relationship that you mentioned earlier is key. And I was like, what? What do you mean I've got to be nice to this person? I mean, I'm a pretty nice person, but I was like, what? Are we just doing business? I was like, and really, I got kicked on my backside a couple of times and I had to go, all right, this is a really different culture. And so learning a new culture, I think was really important, and learning how to also then promote products to a different culture, very different. Because what someone in the US might like is even the East and West Coast is really different, right? In the US and the Midwest, how we market to different people. So learning that, and just learning the new culture. And then I'd worked a bit in CPG, consumer packaged goods before, but not a lot. So I've learned how to manage entire supply chains, all the logistics. We do all of that in-house. We also do all of our fulfillment in-house. So we don't use a 3PL. We do everything here.
Oh, wow. When
at
did
the
that
warehouse.
change?
It never changed. We've always done our own.
Always done it.
Yes.
Wow. Did you raise money to start, or what did that look like?
We raised a tiny bit of money, but once again, we sold before we bought the product.
Okay.
So we run a very lean, hyper lean company, actually, hyper lean. So how we've managed to do that is, first of all, selling the products before I had the products, and doing our own fulfillment. So really being able to control every single aspect of cost, every aspect. From the sticky tape we buy to, how many desks we have, and not in a control freak kind of way, in a very fiscally responsible way. So we know exactly what's happening. What also that enabled us to do was to iterate different products very quickly. So we bring all of our products in bulk and we package them here. Will we run to a law of diminishing returns? Maybe we're going to hit that ceiling, but so far not. I know, someone like Dollar Shave Club, they do their own fulfillment too out of Torrance here. They've just grown their fulfillment center. It's working well for us. It might not work well for everybody, but because we have very small items, it enabled us to then go, wait a second. Like I mentioned before, people want bulk items. Oh, I can do that. I've got a larger bag. We'll put more products in it. There you go. So it enabled us to be super agile. In terms of raising, we did our Indiegogo campaign. Then we did some equity crowdfunding. So we've actually done 3 rounds of equity crowdfunding, and we've had a couple of private investor checks, but only small. We've raised just under $1 million in the lifetime of our company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, not a lot. We're about to do a raise soon as well to take us to that next level, just for inventory as well, because that's the other thing. Suddenly you have to get very inventory heavy. You know, we're running through our inventory in a couple of weeks that used to last us 4 months. So I'm like, all right, now suddenly our business is changing right now. So that's going to be an interesting experience to go through. So yeah, that's kind of how we managed to do that. And we're doing our fulfillment. I say I'm at our warehouse right now and our team's downstairs and they're doing the fulfillment.
What's been one of your hardest challenges in leadership? Okay, if you're like me and your inbox is stressing you out and you need to spend less time there and more time in your business actually moving the needle, bringing money in, I'm about to change your life. Notion Mail is the inbox that thinks like you, automated, personalized, and flexible to finally work the way you work. With AI that learns what matters to you, it can organize your inbox, label messages, draft replies, and even schedule meetings. No manual sorting required. You guys, it has AI organized inbox. You can tell Notion AI what's important to you, and it's going to automatically label them and sort them so that they arrive in the way that you want. Custom views for focus. Split your inbox into custom views like topics, urgencies, senders, or what you want to do to stay distraction free from those emails that you don't want to give your attention to. You can fly through emails with something called snippets. It's a one-click email template where you can do different intros. You can do follow-ups. This is perfect for my podcast, you guys, because I get over 30 inquiries in my inbox a day. So I can automate all of that. It can even include attachments and scheduling links. You can write beautiful emails faster. Get Notion Mail for free right now at notion.com/earn and try the inbox that thinks like you. That's all lowercase letters. Notion.com/earn to get Notion Mail for free right now. When you use our link, you're supporting our show, you guys. Notion.com/earn. I'm so excited to share that this podcast is sponsored by The RealReal, the best place to shop authenticated luxury bags, clothing, watches, and so much more. Personally, I love finding unique, elevated pieces that feel like me, and The RealReal is one of my favorite places to discover them. Whether I'm looking for a one-of-a-kind Zimmermann dress or a classic YSL bag, I know I'm getting something super special and I'm getting it at a great value. The RealReal is attainable luxury that upgrades your personal style. With up to 90% off retail, you can finally have the pieces you've been dreaming of from brands like Gucci, Fendi, Prada, and so many others. Unlike other resale sites, everything The RealReal sells is authenticated in person by luxury and fashion experts. The RealReal is the go-to place for your next special piece. Need a dress for a fancy wedding? The perfect vacation sandals? Ready to invest in a new bag to add to your collection? Find exactly what you're looking for that no one else has at The RealReal. The RealReal is the world's largest and most trusted resource for authenticated luxury resale. With thousands of new arrivals daily, no one does resale like The RealReal. And now get $25 off your first purchase when you go to therealreal.com/happy. That's therealreal.com/happy to get your $25 off. Start shopping now at therealreal.com/happy. When I first started Glossy, I was so overwhelmed. I felt like I had to do everything on my own because you do, and your to-do list just keeps mounting. But let me tell you, when you're starting off with something new, it just seems like that list is growing and growing and growing, and it can quickly overrun your life. So you have to start learning to find the right tools that can not only help you out, but simplify everything. And that is a game changer. And let me tell you, for millions of businesses, that tool is Shopify, and I am included in those numbers. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US. From household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started, and I'm going to add mine to the list, Glossy. Get started with your own design studio. With hundreds of ready-to-use templates, Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand's style. And you guys, I love my website so much that's on Shopify. Go and check it out. Also, Shopify is your e-commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into cha-ching with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/happy. Go to shopify.com/happy, shopify.com/happy.
Communication, I think, is the hardest challenge in leadership. Being able to work with people of all different ages is really different.
Period. Enough said.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I understand that.
It's different, but it is also where we're at.
It's learning a new language.
100%, 100%. And I have an outbound sales team as well. So you asked briefly how we did B2B sales. We have outbound salespeople. We do cold calling.
Yeah, that's great.
Cold call. Yeah. So keeping a team that can make 100 calls a day.
Yeah.
Every day, which is monotonous. Keeping them motivated, keeping that team that does cycle through, setting team cycles through. We've actually broken our sales team now into middle of funnel, into closing. So everyone can own that part of the funnel, which is an interesting way. I'll let you know how that goes after a few months. We've done it for a few months. It's working well. Should be interesting to see how it plays out versus a salesperson that runs the whole process themselves. So yeah, we've been doing that. But the communication from two people all over the world and all different ages, I think, is something that I am still learning. Believe me, still learning.
Yeah, there's just so many different layers to it, especially as you grow. Like, how do you lead all of these people, and how do you lead your leaders who are going to lead the people below you? There's so many different levels to that. Tell me, I want to rewind though for people listening, because a lot of my listeners are either in the beginning phases or they're in like year 1 to 5. Can you tell me what your first year looks like? And can you remember your sales your first year, kind of what that process looked like? And what was your team like?
Sure. I can remember it very clearly. So my first year, we did 60,000 in revenue. I remember that. I was working maybe...
Can I ask, where did those 60,000 come from? Like, how were you guys marketing?
That was mainly D2C, so on our website. So we were everywhere in terms of at fetes or fairs. We were at market stalls. We were going to events, every networking event known to mankind. We have a little tent we'd put up. We'd be there. We were everywhere. We also all had jobs, delivered pizzas at night. We did everything, and I think that's one thing. There's a little story I'll tell you briefly. So there was one point when we started the company, and my business partner and I were sharing an apartment in Santa Monica. And I said, Gab, we have to pay rent like in a week. It's $4,000. We don't have any money. We have nothing. I don't know what are we thinking? And she's one of these people, it'll work out. I'm like, well, you tell me how it's going to work out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I said, and I slept on it. I'm like, wait, I have this idea. We had this nice apartment with a rooftop. I'm like, we have $40 in the bank account. I can buy this little canopy. It's the middle of summer. We're going to sleep on the roof, on a rooftop garden, and we're going to rent out our bedrooms. We're going to keep the office. We need an office, and we need somewhere to sleep if it rains. But we're going to Airbnb. There's this new thing called Airbnb. So make the house look really good. She's really great at that. I'm going to do the listings. Let's see what happens. And this is in summer in Santa Monica. We were pretty near the beach. So what you think, what can I sell? I can't sell an organ. Maybe I could have, but how do I get money? So we wake up the next day. There are all these inquiries for wanting to rent the room. I'm like, thank you, universe. And there was this one inquiry. A lady said, I'm wondering if you take $4,000 for a month. I'm like, wait, what? Yes, we will. So we did stuff like that. So we slept on the roof in our little rooftop garden, which is not a hardship. It's actually really beautiful in Santa Monica. Rented out 2 bedrooms. We had our office downstairs, and it was an apartment that was a nice place. I mean, that was the rent then 8 years ago. So it had different levels. You could live very comfortably in that scenario without a problem. And
Still this was scrappy to sleep on the roof, though.
Pretty scrappy. And this is the other thing. We're in our 40s. We're not 21.
Yeah.
So this was a big commitment, because the last thing I want to do is sleep on I'm like, I'm not going to be sleeping on a futon. And there I am sleeping on the roof,
right.
But we knew it would be short-lived. And we did it also with a really positive attitude. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I've got to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. Let's use this opportunity we've got to create something new. And so I was also working as a reporter at the time. Gabby we were delivering pizzas and whatever we could do to make some extra money. I was doing voiceovers, just being scrappy, but really owning that and really thinking, what can we do? And it was a change, because we'd had successful businesses in the past, very successful, and we'd sold a couple of them, and we found ourselves in a situation that perhaps wasn't so favorable monetarily that we've all been in. But how do we just get out of it? How do we start again? So I don't know what your question was now. I think I've gone on a whole tangent. But
that's amazing. What your first year in business looked like.
Oh, the first year.
That was really great.
Yeah, and it was doing that, and then we do fun promotional things. I remember my parents were in town, and I'm like, Mum and Dad, we've got 100 T-shirts. I need you to iron on this transfer. My mum and dad are like, there, and they're like, are you kidding me? Like, this is our holiday and our retirement.
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
And you'd be doing it, and they're like, okie dokie then. Just getting people on board, I think, was very important, and being able to weather the storms. Because they're going to happen. The journey of being an entrepreneur is pretty difficult, right? And not many people understand that anxiety that you go through, the losses that you go through, the pressure that you have on a daily basis. So how to get up and go, right, I can do this. And how to do that day in and day out is just something we work on, I think, as entrepreneurs, right? And I always like to see the positive in most things. So getting through that first year and just selling and enjoying it and just loving it and being there for customers and being out there. We did in-store demos. I think we might have been in Erewhon. Maybe that was year 2. It was pretty early on. But, I had people that wanted, like, can I help? I'm like, yes, you can. So when people ask for help, just say yes, exactly. How do you feel about doing an in-store demo? Oh, I'd love to. Okay, then. And then being very, very careful with what you spend.
I learned that one. You learn it because it doesn't feel good to be in pinches. And so
Yeah.
you're like, oh, how do I never go back to that again?
Yeah.
Which is so vital. And what's so cool is that women actually, when we become business owners and founders, we tend to be better with our cash. So that's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And also holding people to account. I think sometimes what we do, and I know we went down this, not in the first year, but the second or third years, the hiring agencies to do everything.
Yep.
And then they're the wrong ones. So putting all that money, and I still feel, I'm like, oh my gosh, that money that we spent that didn't return. And sometimes we almost feel like we don't have the right to ask.
Yep.
Like, hey, what are your KPIs? What do we think, oh no, they know what they're doing. Put the KPIs in place. That's a really big lesson I've learned, even though I've been doing this for so long, is we have KPIs on day one. What are you going to hit? Not just so we can hold someone to account, but so everyone involved in the projects knows what's expected, including us. What are our KPIs? What do you need from us to make this project really successful? And we probably dropped the ball plenty of times. You can't, I'm not just blaming agency. It could also have been us as terms of not being a great team player or not working with them as well as we could have. So I think learning those lessons in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, all the years.
Yeah.
But year 1 just, I think, is being very proud of what you're doing and be proud of what you're building, and being able to recognize pretty early on if it's going to be a success or not, and knowing when to quit is very important.
Do you have something that you go off of to tell people, how they can tell when to quit? When people ask me this, it's like the hardest question, but let's see if you've got an answer for me.
How to know when to quit. When you are not selling what you've produced. You still got to give it a try. But there's that balance of putting all of your resources, all of your money, all of your time. You've knocked on all of the doors. And sometimes you have to have that realization that this is not what the market needs right now or what's going to succeed in the market right now. That doesn't necessarily mean quit it altogether. I mean, there are these stories where people were knocking on doors for 20 years and finally it hit. But can you sustain yourself through those 20 years, not just financially, but emotionally? That's a hard road to go down. Maybe your product or service just needs a tweak. Maybe listening to the market is all you need. We had tampons. We thought that was all we would need. Oh, very early on. We need pads, we need liners, at least those 2 things. People don't like a product. Okay, listen to that. How do I take that on board? And if you hear that from enough people, how do we change the product a little bit? How do we be cognizant of what people are telling us? Now, not everyone's going to like everything. Some people just don't like what you do. That's fine. But if you're not making money and your goal is to make money, there has to be that tipping point where you change something in the business. I'm one of those never say die, never quit, never give up. I don't think I could give up. However, could I change my product a little bit? Could I change my approach? Could I listen and just sit with people and hear what they would buy? Hey, if only you did this. And you're going to hear thousands of those. But there will be some that you hear on a repeated basis. And sometimes we also just have bad ideas.
The hardest part about starting a business is often getting started. Build your business in just 10 clicks in 10 minutes. Starting your business should be simple. Get more when you start your business with Northwest Registered Agent. Your entire business identity in just 10 clicks and 10 minutes. Northwest Registered Agent has been helping businesses launch and grow for nearly 30 years. If you want to build your business while keeping your personal information secure, Northwest is the partner you need. In just 10 clicks and 10 minutes, they'll form your business, create a custom website, and set up your local presence wherever you need it. Form your business for just $39 plus state fees, backed by real business experts with decades of experience. Protect your identity and keep your home address private by using Northwest's address on your information documents. Don't wait. Protect your privacy, build your brand, and set up your business in just 10 clicks in 10 minutes. Visit northwestregisteredagent.com/earn and start building something amazing. Get more with Northwest Registered Agent at northwestregisteredagent.com/earn. So for the past few years, Chris and I have been in a really exciting, busy season of travel, whether it's for the podcast or speaking or meeting with our teams who are all over the country for both of our startups, with all the traveling that we do for work, for holidays, and also having had a lake house for 3 years that we only spent summers in. I often thought that it would be so awesome to have another family enjoy our home while we're away. We've made so many memories in Airbnbs over the years. We love to gather our family and friends together in a home away from home, whether it's for an annual Christmas ski trip that we do, or because we always want to travel back to our family for Easter every single year. And I love the idea of your home getting to be a space where other families get to make lasting memories while you get to make a little extra cash. Did you know Airbnb has a co-host network that can take care of all of the details for you? With the co-host network, you can hire a quality local co-host to take care of your home and guests. Experienced co-hosts can support you with everything from creating your listing to managing reservations, messaging guests, and more. Find a co-host at airbnb.com/host.
Yeah. I've started a few businesses that didn't work. We all have, without doubt. And you think you're going to get this traction, you don't. You're like, okay, no, that's it. I'm out. I'm going to get out before I even put more money into this business.
Yeah, definitely.
There are plenty of those. Tampon Tribe was one that really we knew had the synergy as soon as we started talking about it. But that doesn't mean we haven't changed our products. We haven't changed our lineup, how we sell it, who we sell it to. You're always evolving and you're always improving. I don't know if I answered the question when to quit.
You did. I mean, you really did, though. Just if it's not, because I think of it in terms of all of the businesses I've started, and it's definitely like if you are just bumping up against wall after wall after wall, because my company actually was not what it is now when it first started, and it was like every single wall. And I'm not a quitter either. I am like the girl who, you tell me it's not possible, I will like run myself ragged and do everything I can to make it work. But there were just so many, it's like there were no wins, like zero for like 2 years. It was just like, wow, I've never experienced that in my entire life. And then also it was going back to my audience and being like, is this even what we want anymore? Because it had changed.
Yeah.
So much changed during the pandemic that it was like, whoa, they don't even want this anymore. So it was a lot of exactly what you said, like surveying people, seeing if it's a fit. Why isn't this moving at all? Even after tweaking, even after changing, even after all of the things. So yeah, I think that those are amazing questions. What's some advice that you would give that you wish you would have had in the early stages of your entrepreneurship?
I think listen to your intuition. It really does guide you. Ask for help when you need help. And if something's not working, acknowledge it. We have to put our egos way out of play. And that's what I would love to have learned maybe 20 or 30 years ago. Yeah. But you've got to go through those lessons, right? Now, I'm pretty data-driven. I don't have much ego in play at all. A little bit, though. When someone told me the other day the project I was working on they didn't like, I was still a little bit like, really?
It happens.
I like it. Yeah. However, I still took their advice and I'm doing what they say because they actually know more than me. Or I'm going to incorporate me a little bit into it. But I think taking ego out is a lesson that we probably have to learn ourselves. And knowing when something doesn't feel right. Also, ask for help. I have great people in my life. I'm very fortunate. Even my parents who have been super supportive with all these crazy different things I've done, I still use them as a really great support. They're also business people. So they've got pretty clear heads. And that's something I probably would add in now as well. Be a little bit careful of who you ask for help. Because sometimes everyone knows better. They think they know better than you, right? And maybe you actually do know. how to do this. Maybe you can discover how to do it by yourself. Ask your peers and see what they have to say. And just go confidently forward. Believe in yourself. Take a risk. Being entrepreneurial is all about risk and all about having courage. So, lesson one, I would say, if you don't have a big appetite for risk, this might not be your game. There's another one out there.
For sure.
Not everyone has to be an entrepreneur. And we can get caught in that right now, right? Because on social, everyone's got to hustle. Everyone's doing. We don't see behind the scenes. We only see the glittery gold stuff. You don't see the tears. You don't see the money. You don't see the bank accounts that are zero, the sleeping on the roof, delivering pizzas at night. Oh, gosh. I actually really enjoy doing those things, but there's hardship involved, you know. So I think knowing if it's a good fit for you, giving it a go. But I also don't want people to quit early. So it's a hard message, isn't it? What do you think? What would you say to people?
I think the same thing. I think, you know, you have to be good with risk because you live in a state of not knowing every single day. There is no certainty whatsoever. So if you are someone who needs a lot of certainty, this is absolutely not for you. You have to be someone who likes new things a lot and that like learning and feeling uncomfortable. I think the people who crave challenge, it's like, it's amazing. It's like air because if you love personal growth and personal development, it is that every single day. And some people love that and they need it. And sometimes it's just a shift into acknowledging that what really gives you life is challenge. So instead of looking at all of your challenges as challenges, you're like, oh, this is actually the way, like, this is what makes me happy. That was a big shift for me. So I think that would be advice that I give to people is like, if you know you're not going to do anything else, like if you know you want to create something and it has to come out in the world, like really learning that you actually need challenge to be happy. I think that was a really huge shift for me in the last 2 years is going, wow, instead of these challenges that come and they suck and they're no fun and oh my God, why can't I have more wins? It's like, oh, those are the things that are turning me into the person that I actually see in my head. And like, I want to be that person so bad, but the only way to do it is to sit here and solve this or, you know, face this. Cause you're always, it's, if you're not solving it in this business, no new business is going to bring you a different set of fun challenges. It's like, we have to solve the ones right here to become the person who can handle more. So yeah, I have loved this conversation so much. We need everybody to get on your subscription or try out your product. And I know that you got a coupon code for the listeners and it's happy20 for 20% off. So we can try it for 20% off. So the key to that is place a really large order for the whole 20% off. Okay, Jen, where can we go?
Thanks, Laurie. We can go to tampontribe.com. And you'll find everything there. Our social handles are also at Tampon Tribe. And if you have any questions or you're not sure what products to get or sizes, just DM us and we'll get back to you straight away. And we'd love you to, try us out, use the code, make a big order, save all the money. Exactly. It's our pleasure.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. You guys, make sure you go below and click that link. You all need this. Send it to a friend. Make sure that she's also taking care of her health and wellness, and you could truly make a big difference in someone's experience every single month. So thank you so much, Jen, for coming on. And until next time, earn your happy. Bye, everyone.